Thanks for tuning in to this Thursday night edition of India Reports with me, Shiv Arora. Top story tonight. In what comes as huge relief to actor Salman Khan, a Mumbai court has ordered a fresh trial in the infamous 2002 hit-and-run case in which one person was killed and 4 people grievously injured when Salman Khan ran riot with his SUV. According to the court's ruling, all pieces of evidence and witnesses will have to be re-examined. The hearing will begin on the 23rd of December. Earlier, a magisterial court had ordered that Salman Khan be tried for culpable homicide not amounting to murder, which attracts 10 years imprisonment, as opposed to rash negligent driving, which attracts 2. The actor had pleaded not guilty in court and had demanded a fresh trial, and the decision big relief for the superstar actor. One person was killed and 4 others injured when Salman Khan's Land Cruiser, allegedly driven by the actor himself, crushed that group of people sleeping on the pavement outside a bakery in suburban Bandra in Mumbai on the early hours of September the 28th, 2002. That's 11 years ago.
Salman Khan's hit-and-run case was going on in the magistrate court for 10 years, and after we brought up the issue in the magistrate court, his case was committed to Sessions Court under 323 of the Criminal Procedure Code, whereby his punishment from death by negligence was made into culpable homicide not amounting to murder 304 part 2, and that is why the judge has ordered a fresh trial today under 323 so that the new procedure, what are the elaborate trial procedure of Sessions Court, may be followed.
Now, as far as the fresh trial is concerned, since the charge has been altered to a graver charge, this is a settled principle under the Code of Criminal Procedure and also under the Constitution, that if you are charged for a certain offence and later if the offence is altered to a graver charge, in that event you are entitled to a fresh evidence and a fresh opportunity to cross-examine each witness. The court has rightly passed an order today asking the prosecution to bring in from witness number 1 over again. Of course, this is increasing work, taking more time, but it is inevitable, because otherwise, if the court would have proceeded with the earlier evidence and would have even found the accused guilty and convicted him, that conviction would have been liable probably being set aside by the appellate court.
Let's go straight across to headlines today. Sakhi Deshpande joining us live from Mumbai at this time. Sakhi, it is a settled procedure, within the criminal procedure that, a retrial is possible. It is applicable when graver charges are applied. And that's precisely what the court has allowed in this particular case. But at a time when, justice delayed is justice denied, when there is this public perception of sort of leniency and VVIP justice, for the high and mighty in Mumbai, the perception is going to be precisely that, isn't it, Sakhi, that it's the high and mighty, the powerful, who always get the best of justice?
Absolutely, Shiv, but like one of the lawyers said, it's absolutely inevitable, because the trial has sort of taken a new turn now. The Sessions Court, when they ordered, now that they have accepted the petition filed by the actor, because now he was facing much more serious charges, that of culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. He was earlier facing a lesser, graver charge against the offence of death caused by negligent driving.
Yes.
Now, since the charges are more grave, it's but natural that a fresh trial and the cross-examination of the witnesses has to go through the process. So it's absolutely inevitable, and the prosecution will now have to fight harder. They have been saying that this is the defense's way of the actor's way of buying more time into the case. It's already 11 years old, and the main witness, Ravindra Patil, who was his bodyguard at that point in time, has died. So the prosecution has a very tough task ahead of them to sort of prove Salman Khan guilty as charged.
Thanks, Sakhi, for getting us those details. As you rightly pointed out, it's important to point out that a retrial in this particular case, given what has happened, is totally applicable. It's allowed within the criminal procedure. It's a matter of perception that's going to be really the matter of debate as far as VVIP culture in Mumbai is concerned. Justice delayed is definitely justice denied. Moving on now. A Supreme Court panel formed to probe charges of sexual harassment has let off Justice Ganguly with just a rap. The panel has released a statement today, and I quote from it: "We have carefully scrutinized the statement of the victim and the statement of Justice A.K. Ganguly. It appears to the committee that the victim had visited a hotel where Justice Ganguly was staying to assist him in his work. This fact is not denied by Justice Ganguly in his statement. Further, the committee is of the considered view that the statement of victim, both written and oral, prima facie discloses an act of unwelcome behavior, unwelcome verbal, non-verbal conduct of a sexual nature by Justice Ganguly with her in the room in hotel approximately between 8 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Considering the fact that the said intern was not an intern on the rolls of the Supreme Court and that the concerned judge had already demitted office on account of superannuation on the date of the incident, no further follow-up action is required by this court," is what the statement said.
These are very delicate matters. I don't even know what the girl has told the court. Unless these things become public, how am I to... And I must tell you that Ganguly is my friend. And I don't sit in judgment over my friends without even hearing my friend.
Now, two things are required to be done. That the Delhi police should start criminal case against him immediately. Delhi police should start criminal case. Although there was an FIR before at Calcutta, but the Calcutta has no jurisdiction because the incident had occurred at Delhi. Secondly, Justice Ganguly must step down immediately. It's a stigma on him.
From the list of 38 pending legislations, the government has prioritized the Prevention of Communal Violence Bill, but things came to a head on day one of the winter session of Parliament, with the opposition forcing adjournments in both houses over the contentious bill. But top government sources are telling headlines today that the Congress has been forced to neutralize the bill, which means a huge win for the BJP in this election season.
The House stands adjourned to meet tomorrow.
Minutes into day one of the winter session.
The House stands adjourned.
The House stands adjourned.
Both houses of Parliament adjourned after the opposition raised the red flag over the communal violence bill. An appeal notwithstanding.
We seek the cooperation of all segments of the House to ensure the smooth passage of the essential legislative business.
Consensus for what is clearly the Congress sensing an opportunity to capitalize on heightened communal polarization. Bloody riots that left more than 60 people dead in Muzaffarnagar earlier this year. An opportunity to push the bill drafted by the Sonia Gandhi-led National Advisory Council.
This bill will address all the issues.
The whole issue is coming from the Congress sources. Our charge is a rank communal bill out to divide the country.
For a man who has found it hard to get rid of his riot taint, no surprises then that Narendra Modi leads the BJP's charge on this contentious legislation. His latest attack, a sharply worded letter to the Prime Minister. Central to Modi and the anti-bill lobby attack is that minorities must not be defined in terms of religion alone. But those backing the legislation say the bill needs to be biased towards religious minorities. The bill also raises the federalism debate.
वो उनका काम वो करेंगे, हमारा काम हम करेंगे।
नरेंद्र भाई ने जो मुद्दे इस बिल के बारे में रखे हैं सामने, शिवसेना का मोदी साहब को पूरा समर्थन है, पूरा समर्थन है।
But sources within the government are exclusively telling headlines today about a strategy to blunt the opposition attack.
Headlines today has exclusively accessed draft of Prevention of Communal Violence Bill. Obviously, words and provisions of majority and minority community have completely been done away with. Instead, words like group or community who commits the offence and organized communal violence has been used.
Politically, with elections around the corner, the time is just ripe for the Congress to introduce the bill. Mathematically too, the odds are in its favour. But with a 12-day session and zero certainty on extension, the question remains if Congress strategists will be able to get the opposition to the table. The bigger question is why the party did not consider this bias against minorities after more than 70 people were killed in the worst riots in Assam last year. Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
He came to power in Bihar promising transformation. Nitish successfully delivered with clean governance for 2 terms. Now its former ally, BJP, has charged Nitish with the same tactic that once brought Lalu to the centre stage. The BJP alleges that Nitish is harbouring criminal netas in his party, including ones with serious cases against them. Here's the full story.
He has made inclusive growth and clean governance the leitmotif of his term as the 2-time Chief Minister of Bihar. But now it seems Nitish Kumar has taken a leaf out of Lalu Prasad's book to rule the state. Ally turned foe BJP has accused Nitish Kumar of inducting strongmen into the party to muscle its way to possible victory in 2014. A look at the new entrance into the JDU fold reveals how Nitish Kumar may be working on the same formula as Lalu's RJD. Rajesh Kumar Roshan, also known as Bablu Dev, he faces several cases of murder, attempt to murder and extortion. Shah Alam Shabu, he faces several cases under Arms Act, murder, attempt to murder and rioting. Rajesh Kumar, also known as Chunnu Thakur, he faces 20 cases of kidnapping, murder and extortion. But these newly inducted JDU leaders think that criminal cases against them do not matter and they feel right at home joining Nitish Kumar's party.
अभी तक तो जंगल राज थी, जब से नीतीश जी आए हैं तब से हर विभाग में सुधार हुआ है, हर चीज में सुधार हुआ है। इनका तो जवाब ही नहीं है।
आप लोगों का जो सहयोग मिला, जो स्नेह मिला, आज मैं उसी की बदौलत मैं इस मंच से मैं बोल रहा हूँ।
मेरे ऊपर जो आरोप लगाया जा रहा है वो कुछ केस विरोधियों के द्वारा, वो भी 2001 के पहले, 2001 से आज तक कोई भी केस हम पे नहीं है।
The Chief Minister, however, was ignorant when he was questioned about inducting people with criminal background into his party.
हमको तो सारी बात पता नहीं रहेगी, पार्टी में कोई ज्वाइनिंग हो रही है, किनकी ज्वाइनिंग हो रही है, कौन लोग ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, हर ज्वाइनिंग के बारे में तो मुझको नहीं मालूम रहता है।
But making a scathing attack on its former ally BJP has hit out at Nitish Kumar for inducting history sheeters into the JDU fold.
और पिछले 7 दिनों में 3 ऐसे शातिर लोगों को पार्टी में शामिल कराया गया है जो हिस्ट्री शीटर्स हैं, जिनके नाम से उन अपने अपने इलाकों में लोग डरते हैं, भयभीत रहते हैं। और मुख्यमंत्री ये करें कि मेरी जानकारी में नहीं है। मुख्यमंत्री के बिना जानकारी के जदयू के अंदर पत्ता भी नहीं हिल सकता है।
As the high-stake battle for 2014 draws near, clearly not even history sheeters appear to be politically untouchable for Mr. Clean Nitish Kumar.
Sushashan, it seems, has taken a back seat for the Bihar Chief Minister. Nitish can now boast of not just 1 or 2 but several Bahubalis in his fold. And it is also very much evident that the Bihar Chief Minister is not shying from taking support from each and every quarter to bolster his party's poll prospect in 2014. With camera person Deepak Kumar, this is Rohit Singh in Patna for Headlines Today.
This is, of course, the supreme irony of politics, that Nitish Kumar finds himself in a situation almost identical to the one that Lalu found himself in a few years ago. It's become commonplace for politicians and regional parties to induct those with big criminal records. But as Nitish Kumar, the Chief Minister of Bihar, steps up for a potential larger national role as the Congress fishes in troubled waters in Bihar following the split between the JDU and the BJP in Bihar, it remains to be seen just how the JDU, led by Nitish Kumar, can shake off a reputation that is beginning to look very, very bad for the JDU.